Hi, my name's Daryl. Here's your Jeep news for February 6th. So Stellantis was supposedly going to have a big press conference today, and I don't know if it happened, but the only news that I can get from Stellantis is a new Wagoneer trim was released. A Wagoneer S trim was released. So let's talk about that and a couple of other things that I found. So, Stellantis was getting a lot of complaints about the Wagoneer S and it only offering one edition, the launch edition, which was their most expensive edition. And so they have come out with a new limited trim, which is going to MSRP for $66,995, which is about $5,000 less than the launch edition. I think they have some incentives for the launch edition of $3,000 if you take delivery before March 31st or something like that. But in general, this price of the Wagoneer S is a bit less expensive. Now, they really didn't discuss all that much what was different between this limited edition trim and the launch edition trim. But one of the things that does change it quite a bit is it lowers its horsepower output to only 500 horsepower. So the Wagoneer S launch edition has 600 horsepower and this one only has 500 horsepower. So that's quite a bit lower. So, but what really annoys me is they took that 100 extra horsepower and they put it behind a paywall. So this is what this other news source, Motor One, talked about is the Jeep Wagoneer S Limited puts the full power behind the paywall. So they're going to come out with this new propulsion bolts package, and it's going to be available for an over-the-air download. There's still no news on exactly how much this particular package is going to cost, but it doesn't do anything other than just change the software and you get 100 extra horsepower. So, I think certainly a lot of Mopar enthusiasts, we and they don't really understand, either an engine comes with the extra horsepower or doesn't. I mean, maybe there's some tuning that you have to do to get that 100 extra horsepower, but just to make it an over-the-air download and to have it all of a sudden have 600 horsepower, I don't think many people are really going to appreciate that. I could understand them taking away some features of the Limited, so, maybe not such great amenities inside, maybe not so many screens, who knows what, but yeah, I think that's pretty, what's the word, pathetic? Yeah, I really don't like what Stellantis has done with this. It just, I think it's going to annoy customers more than anything. Some interesting news though, that one kind of sucked, but some interesting news is Stellantis is getting a patent, or they were awarded a patent on an innovative winch using the electric drive motors that are basically in the car already. If you're getting something with electric motors, they're going to be able to use those electric motors to power an integrated winch inside of your Jeep Wrangler or whatever it is, whatever Jeep that you have that is capable of these kind of off-roading duties that would require a winch. And so this is actually pretty cool. So here's what the patent looks like. So I guess here is your winch, the integrated winch inside of the engine bay. And instead of it having its own motor, it's going to use the electric motors that are already there for the car. And it's going to be able to use those motors. So there's like a selectable switch that you can choose if you're going from kind of regular drive mode to winch mode, so that those motors then drive the gears that power the winch. But that's pretty interesting. We are going towards more electric cars. I would believe probably the new Wrangler is going to have electric motors. Heck, the 4xe already has electric motors, and so yeah, they could do this with a 4xe already. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff there. And this comes to us from Mopar Insiders. They're always looking kind of at patents, and so they reported this first. And so yeah, some really interesting stuff. So this is whether or not winch mode is activated, and if it is, then it locks the wheel, disconnects the drive axles, and then is Apple actually able to tell the motors to drive the winch instead. So yeah, it's really neato. So another patent. So let's get into this one right here. So, oops. So this other patent has to do with EV exhaust. And so Stellantis has taken, or Dodge has taken, a lot of heat in regards to the fake exhaust sounds that come from the new Dodge Charger Daytona. Some people kind of like it. They think it adds character to the car. Most people hate it and thinks it's really stupid. But this is a twist on that. So they're going to have an EV exhaust, but it's not for sound. It's actually for making the car safer. So we all, have heard the stories about, on the 4xEs when the battery has issues and it kind of going into this thing called thermal runaway, where the batteries just go crazy and they start burning up, causing a serious fire within the car. So what they have found is they're now going to use an exhaust system to vent the gases from the batteries. And so let's see here. So it can experience a phenomenon engineers called thermal runaway. As the name implies, the cells doesn't just fizzle out. It can throw a chemical tantrum. As a result, it can release a cocktail of flammable gases made up of all of these things and causes high temperatures and the batteries blow up. So what Stellantis wants to do is vent those gases outside of the battery pack to avoid a spontaneous combustion within the pack that turns a high-dollar EV into a certified bonfire. So, I think a lot of EVs in the battery packs, they have fail-safes in them to protect for this, but obviously they're not perfect, right? And so Stellantis wants to add another fail-safe or multiple layers of redundancies to help make EVs and EV batteries safer. And so, yeah, it's pretty good stuff for Stellantis there, and I'm glad they're looking at this and perhaps going to integrate this technology into their new electric vehicles or plug-in hybrid vehicles. And last, another kind of EV slanted story. Not that anybody, I'm sure, watching this channel thinks much of EVs. But Stellantis is betting big on sulfur technology in regards to battery technology. So they've partnered with a company called Zeta Energy, and they're going to create or develop the next generation lithium sulfur batteries. So the nice thing about these sulfur batteries is they're going to be lighter weight, so about 50% less weight. They're going to be reduced in production costs, about 50% less to produce them, and it's also going to be the battery is also going to be lighter, and it's going to be able to have like 620 miles of range, and it's also going to be faster charging and long battery life. So unfortunately, it looks like this technology, they're just starting with this partnership, and it looks like the technology won't really be available for full production until about 2030. But yeah, time goes fast, and I'm glad to see Stellantis at least kind of looking at a new direction in regards to EV battery technology. Oh, and I almost forgot the most important part of the story. Unlike conventional lithium-ion batteries, which rely on scarce materials like nickel, cobalt, and manganese, this technology uses sulfur, which is a widely available and low-cost element. So, yeah, that's one of the things about the U.S. government has in place currently in regards to the EV, tax rebates that you can get. It looks at the source materials of the battery and where they come from, and so these metals are very hard to find, whereas sulfur is going to be much easier to find and the batteries will be much easier to produce and less expensive and less weight. So yeah, good stuff there. This is Daryl with your Jeep News, and if there is something that comes out a little bit later from Stellantis, I'll be sure to report it. So this is Daryl with your Jeep News, and I'll talk to you soon.